How's it going, guys? I wanted to make a video really quick. Well, actually, that's a lie. It's not going to be really quick. I'll try to make it as brief as possible, but you know, somebody asked me, and it has to do with the subject of textual criticism, and in particular, where do I stand on the topic? And the truth is that, you know, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I would be categorized as what is known as a majority text guy. Now, I'm not a Textus Receptus guy, and I can make a video talking about the distinctions between the Textus Receptus and the majority text, and actually the Byzantine text for that matter. There's a lot of nuance that goes into this, and a lot of times the majority text label is kind of pasted on a it's sort of put as an umbrella term, and people will say the majority text, but you know, they might be referring to different things. So they'll lump the Byzantine text guys in there, and they'll lump the TR guys in there. Now, as a term, I understand why. It's the simplest way to define the majority text is it's simply the belief that the majority of surviving Greek manuscripts is most likely going to be the most authentic text of the New Testament, the most authoritative. Now, again, I can make a video discussing that, but I'm going to go ahead and set the Textus Receptus aside and just briefly describe the difference between the majority text and the Byzantine text. Now, this is going to be an oversimplification, I'm aware, and this analogy isn't perfect, but I still think it'd be useful. The way I like to think about it is the majority text and the Byzantine text are kind of like, you ever had a situation where your teacher gave you a math problem and you got the right answer, but you got there a different way? You know, you use a different formula, if you will, and you basically got the same answer. Well, that's kind of how I think about the difference between the majority text and the Byzantine text. And essentially, the Byzantine text position, the Byzantine prioritist position, from what I understand, is that essentially they believe that the best text family, okay, now I understand that text types are, it's a discussion that whether or not that's even a thing, but I'm going to pretend it's a thing for now, so I might date myself in this video here, but anyway, the Byzantine priority position is the belief that the best representation of the New Testament manuscripts will be preserved through the Byzantine family, that it is the best family due to the geographical area of where it's from, because Byzantium is out of Asia Minor, which is where the New Testament mainly takes place, in Asia Minor. Factor in also the fact that it is very cohesive, that it is very unified in what it says. You know, there's not a lot of variation that goes on in the Byzantine text. And then also lumping into that the fact that it is numerically, it is so much, there's so much, the vast majority of our surviving manuscripts are Byzantine. That is the Byzantine priority position, right? The majority text position is a little bit different in that it doesn't favor necessarily any one particular, you know, text type or family. Rather, it simply states that it believes the best text will be the majority of any surviving manuscript. Now, inevitably, though, what's going to happen is that you're going to end up with basically a Byzantine text, because the vast majority of surviving manuscripts are Byzantine. So in a way, really, I believe, and I could be wrong on this here, but I believe that the Byzantine the Byzantine text, I think, is best represented by the New Testament put out by Dr. Maurice Robinson, the Robinson-Pierpont text. So that would be the Byzantine priority text. On the other side, you have the text put out by Zane Hodges and Arthur Farstad. That would be the majority text. And I think that they are super close as far as their variations. I think it's somewhere in the ballpark within 90, I could be wrong here, but I think 98%, something like that. Their major variations would be in the book of Revelation, and in the pericope adulterae, so the story of the woman caught in adultery. Those would be the 2 points of variation. I am a majority text guy mainly because, you know, I guess I should start by saying my influences. You know, my dad's Greek professor was a close friend of Zane Hodges. Now, my dad's professor, Glenn Riddle, he was not a majority text guy. However, he was, like I said, good friends with Zane Hodges, who was the co-editor of the majority text. And my dad met Zane Hodges at least once, and it left a profound impact on my dad. And so ever since then, my dad has looked into textual criticism, and he came to the conclusion that the majority text, he believed it to be the most authoritative text, as in he believed that theory was the most accurate theory. Now, the reason that I'm a majority text guy myself is obviously I'd be lying to say there wasn't some bias from my dad. And the truth is that, everybody has some amount of bias in their lives. And, inevitably, the people that have effects on us, that were raised us, do have influence on us. And so the truth is that, yes, I would say that a large contributor to why I believe in the majority text is because of my dad's influence. But it also has to do with, I think, because I'm not just blindly following it, it is something that I have looked into quite a bit. I really struggled with this question, and that is, how do we deal with preservation, and in particular, when it pertains to textual variants? And I came to the conclusion that the majority text theory, I think, answers that question the best. And again, if you'd like to have more comprehensive videos on this subject, then go ahead and comment below and let me know if you'd like that. But anyway, that's the reason that I came to the position on the majority text, is I believe that, preservation with God, protecting His Word, that He would make it the most widespread and produced version of whatever the truth would be. So that's why I also believe in the majority text. The question a lot of people ask me, though, is because I happen to do 2 videos on the New American Standard, they ask me why I'm a critical text guy, and the truth is I'm not. But the simple fact of the matter is that there isn't a Byzantine or majority text translation of the Bible means that there really isn't one that's for me. Now, it's true that the New King James is very close. And in fact, I think the New King James footnotes would probably give you the closest thing to a majority or Byzantine text translation available today. But I don't favor any one translation per se. What I have done, though, is I have gone and correlated the major variations between the majority text, the Textus Receptus, and the critical text. And what I've done is I've just written them in the margins of my Bible. I have an old 1977 New American Standard. It's actually a Schofield Study Bible. I don't know if that gives away my, my theology there, but anyway. But I wrote in the margins, it was a large print, and I wrote in the margins that anytime there's a variation. And that's the thing that I like about the majority text position, is that it's a, well, one reason, it's a very stable text. There's not a lot of variation. When they find new manuscripts, just because there's one variant doesn't mean the text is going to change. What I want to do is I'll probably make a more detailed video looking at the differences between the different text types, if you can even call them that anymore, but the different text types, as well as the different schools of textual criticism. And if you like, actually, I've been thinking about doing this, making a video talking about how you can do textual criticism without knowing any Greek. Now, when I'm referring, by the way, to textual criticism, I'm referring primarily to the New Testament. I don't really know a lot about Old Testament textual criticism. I think part of the reason for that, though, is that there's not a lot of disagreement on the Old Testament. There is some variation, to be sure, but it's not very heated. Whereas the New Testament is much more, let's just say, fiercely debated. Let's put it that way. So anyway, all that to say is I am a majority text guy. And if you'd like more videos on this content, and I don't know, Dwayne Green, if you see this, just know I have flirted with the Byzantine priority position. We've gone on a couple dates, I'm not totally shut off to it, but I would say for right now, because I'm the most familiar with it, I'd say that the majority text position, I think, is the position that I'm the most comfortable with saying where I am. So anyway, all that to say is I hope this helped you out. I know I kind of rambled in this, but if you'd like to see content along those lines, I'd love to make it. This is a hobby for me, so any excuse I had to make more videos, I love. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.